Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.
You're listening to the Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Vakula, here to help you travel the world at next to no cost with credit card points, miles, benefits, and loyalty programs. Make money, save money, and take advantage of great deals. Thanks for joining me for today's episode, MGM Rewards Iconic Credit Card. Returning guest Darren Remsberg and I discuss MGM's new credit card, which offers great potential. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are May 17th, 2025 and June 22nd, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vakula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube, where you can also become a channel member for daily content, including travel videos, podcast clips, community, and bonus videos. Welcome back to the show, Darren Remsberg.
Thank you, Justin. Glad to be back. I understand you just returned from Las Vegas.
Oh, yes. And I attended WrestleMania Night 1 on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. The triple threat out there, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't enter the ring to make it a fatal four-way. I was not invited, but I got a good view and a ticket of just about $200. So the ticket prices went way down, and I was a buyer at that. So I uploaded some shorts on YouTube, lots of pictures all across social media, and it was a pretty good experience.
That sounds like a good time. If you were to have wrestled, Justin, would you be wearing purple? Would you say some sort of purple outfit, like a purple Princess Perry, or no?
Ooh, or maybe I would come out as an Amtrak devotee.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. I feel like there's a train. You could work a train into your name somehow and just run people over.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Or some sort of finisher. Yes, we had Diesel, the wrestler Diesel, in the 90s. So maybe that's pretty close to that.
Speaking of exciting events, Justin, we're here to talk about the brand new MGM Rewards Iconic MasterCard, which I'm sure our listeners already know is a new MasterCard, a new MGM MasterCard compared to what's already available. Tell us more.
Yes, a shiny new card, and it's a metal card for new applicants, at least within a certain amount of time while supplies last. Of course.
A metal card, you say? Oh my goodness, why didn't you lead with that?
They love that for the marketing. I guess it's a little bit of an incentive to get in early and get the metal card, but the metal card isn't the big feature to me. It's the sign-up bonus. They're giving a 40,000 point sign-up bonus, which is worth $400 in comps. And we've talked about in previous episodes how we can use MGM comps for even more value, especially in Atlantic City, going into the Amphora Lounge at Borgata or the buffet for only $12.50 in comps. So that's quite a good value if you have that MGM Gold status or better. So there's been a lot of discussion about this, a lot of negativity surrounding the card. So we're here to make a positive case for the card, that it can be very useful for casino patrons, travelers, miles and points people, even if you're not in-person gambling or gambling at all. I still think there can be great value in this card, especially going to places like Las Vegas and Atlantic City.
I think our listeners will be shocked to hear that we are advocating for, in fact, more credit cards as a solution to this problem. Is that something we've said before?
Yes. The answer to everything indeed is more credit cards. And even if you have the no annual fee card, the standard MGM Rewards MasterCard, I think there's a good case for getting the Iconic MasterCard, as they say, is the premium tier credit card designed to reward big spenders and loyal guests, valuable customers, valuable patrons, all of the PR speak. And of course, that's us. We are big spenders and patrons. I know you haven't been in Atlantic City as much because the gymnastics events for your daughters did not come to Atlantic City, but this might get you back in that game.
Very sad, very sad. Yeah, of course, summer is just around the corner for us here in Pennsylvania, and just a matter of time before it's beach weather. One of my daughters is turning into a beach bum, so quick trip down to Atlantic City, a little free play, little comp night, and some time on the beach. Sounds like it would be a good time.
Yes, you may be auto spinning to win with the My Vegas games soon enough.
Yeah, not time to recruit the phone army, Justin. Time to recruit the phone army.
Yes, the phone army. You can combine the My Vegas rewards with the MGM comps, and we've discussed that in other episodes. I have a video showing how to play these free-to-play games to get real-life rewards. So I think that's a nice stack that you can get complimentary nights, free play, food credits, and much more. The reward's more impactful in Las Vegas, I think, compared to Atlantic City, but at least at Borgata, you're typically getting a free night, free play, and food credits. So that's really nice. But returning the focus on the MGM Iconic MasterCard, right now, as of recording, April 22nd, 2025, through on or around the end of May, they're offering a 40,000 point sign-up bonus for spending $5,000 in 3 months, worth $400 in MGM Rewards points or comps. There is a $249 annual fee, but some emails are going out for existing cardholders to upgrade the no annual fee card to the annual fee card with a waived annual fee. But this sacrifices the 40,000 point sign-up bonus because America loves math. What do you think about that? Not paying a $249 annual fee, giving up a 40,000 point sign-up bonus for $400.
Yeah, I think on the face of it, the math is pretty easy, right? If you're going to use $400 in points or comps in some way, then the 249, call it 250, is a reasonable investment, and you're still 150 ahead. I guess there's the conversation for those folks that are trying to stay under 524. This would be a personal card, right? That would count, as far as we know, towards their 524 status. Remind us, Justin, who's issuing this card?
Ooh, the MGM Iconic MasterCard and the MGM Rewards MasterCard, the no annual fee version. They're both issued by the First National Bank of Omaha. So there is some competition with the Amtrak credit cards. Another shout out to Purple Princess Perry on Instagram, Amtrak's biggest fan. So if you've applied for an FNBO card recently, then maybe you don't get approved for this one. I'm not sure there's a hard and fast rule, but there is fine print with this new offer for the Iconic MasterCard, the annual fee MasterCard, saying that you can only get a sign-up bonus once per 12 months. So if you recently signed up for the no annual fee card, and you receive that email upgrade offer, it might be worth taking the upgrade offer, sacrificing the 40,000 points for now, because 10 months from now, 9 months from now, that offer might go away or lower.
You read my mind, Justin. I was wondering if someone really wanted to go all in on MGM status, could you apply for both cards the same day and sort of where you just keep applying until they tell you to stop and try to double dip a little bit here? But it sounds like that probably is not the case, that there's some limits in the number of cards that FNBO, the friendly folks in Omaha, would be willing to approve in some amount of time.
So at least there's terms against that sign-up bonus. If you get one card, you have to wait 12 months before getting another sign-up bonus, whether it's the Iconic or the no annual fee, because the no annual fee also has a sign-up bonus. So there's a little bit of a timer. So if you were recently approved for the no annual fee MGM Rewards card, you could take the upgrade offer and then wait 12 months and then apply for the next MGM card and have both of them. Seems to be the play if you value MGM Rewards, of course.
Speaking of rewards and maybe tier credits, tell us about that. Do you get any tier credit for signing up with this card, Justin?
Yes, the Iconic card gives you a 10,000 tier credit boost just for getting the card. It's a good start towards gold or platinum status. Gold needs 75,000 tier. Platinum needs 200,000 tier. So we discussed these statuses in earlier episodes. We could just give a quick explanation. Gold status with MGM, this is waiving resort fees. This is giving access to discounted rates at the buffet at Borgata, access to the Amphora Lounge at Borgata for the unlimited food and alcohol. The buffet is just the food. potentially later checkouts with gold status. And MGM also added a cruise benefit for gold status, which is new. This happened a few weeks ago. Platinum status gives a $600 flight rebate, another cruise benefit. And MGM has clarified you get both cruises in a status year. Platinum also giving you later checkout, potential room upgrades. I've had many room upgrades with Platinum status. So getting $10,000 just for getting the card with the sign-up bonus, that's a good boost on the way to the $75,000 tier. America loves math, of course, with the percentages on that, but it's still a good start.
Yeah, and gold status was what we used to be able to match to, right? Back in the, well, and to some extent still in the merry-go-round of status matching, oftentimes starting with Wyndham and Caesars and then matching out from there. That's correct.
Yes, so this card gives you an interesting opportunity to guarantee status, where many lament, oh, this play died, this match died. You don't have to worry about matching anymore to get MGM status when you could just use the credit card and basically guarantee the status that you can earn it each year.
That sounds good. I'm sure there's some opportunities here to spend your way towards those rewards tiers or tier, what do we call those? Tier benefits, tier...
The status levels, the tier levels.
Status levels. I want to call them like gold, like
milestones.
Maybe milestones. I think I'm buying too much gold at Costco.
All the medals.
Yeah, all the medals are stuck in my head.
Yeah, hopefully you won't be like gold member from Austin Powers and have an unfortunate smelting incident.
Would be sad.
Yes.
So on the earning structure, I know one of the things that you have taken advantage of in the past with the no annual fee MGM card has been loading money onto BetMGM during special promos at 3x. Do you anticipate that you'd be able to do something similar with this card, or what's the earning structure look like?
Yes, you do indeed get at least 1x on loads to BetMGM. So this isn't only 1% back in comps or free play. The way this card works is that once the statement closes a few days later, you see what are called slot dollars in your account. You have the option to use that for free play, or you can convert it to comps or the MGM reward points. So you have some flexibility there. So you get the 1x tier and the 1x comps or free play with the BetMGM load. And this is a no cash advance play. You use the credit card directly funding gambling, which our best friend Dave Ramsey would be a huge fan of course, gambling with credit. So, of course, use credit responsibly, gamble responsibly, and you have an edge. He said it's impossible to beat the house always wins. But in this case, if we're going to play basic strategy in blackjack, play optimally, we're going to give up about 0.5% in the blackjack multi-hand surrender game, which I really like. So if we're giving up 0.5%, but we're earning 1% and tier, I max that credit limit every statement, pay off the credit card with the withdrawals and other monies, and earn status. I think this is a great way to go with this card. Super easy to get gold status and a little bit of more effort to get platinum.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like there's some opportunities there. It's funny, more and more as we work through this hobby or this game or whatever you want to call it, I feel like we're just more and more arbitrage specialists, right? We're taking something that some folks don't value and turning it into something that's more valuable. So whether that's classically airline miles for business and first class flights, or casino statuses for free cruises, or I know you've been able to connect some of those things to fly to somewhere and then do the cruise. It just seems like this is yet another example of that philosophy applied to a smaller subset or a smaller niche than what people are accustomed to. And I think when people don't understand, excluding Dave Ramsey, who maybe does understand, but just doesn't want to, they see that annual fee, they don't really see the benefit here. And so I think having you walk us through this and understand what the arbitrage opportunity really is for a card like this is really helpful.
But wait, there's more. The credit card also gives 6x tier and comps or free play on MGM spend. So if you were to outright pay for a hotel room, outright pay for dining, or perhaps you can buy some gift cards at some casinos. This play, I think, is largely dead, but there might still be opportunities out there. You get 6x on MGM spend. So maybe that's not as scalable, but I know past podcast guest Mandy had met in Vegas with various friends. They went to an expensive restaurant. People gave her the cash and she was able to swipe the credit card. So if you have some connections like that, buying show tickets, all kinds of spend, of course, that you can do in Las Vegas and other places. So 6X is an improvement versus the no annual fee card that would be 3X. I don't think it's the biggest deal, as it's probably not as scalable, but it is still a little bit of a benefit. The card also gives 2X tier and comps or free play on hotels, dining, gas, and grocery. So many categories there compared to the no annual fee. Probably not worth it using it on the hotel or dining category, as many other cards bonus this. But as a volume play for those doing creative spend at gas stations and grocery stores, this could come into play. Personally, I'm still going to prioritize the BetMGM play. But for those outside of online gambling states, maybe they use this card for grocery and gas spend. 1X on everything else, not interesting. But the 1X on BetMGM, I think, is interesting. And as you alluded to earlier, sometimes the BetMGM loads give you more than 1X. They've given 3X in the past, unannounced and announced. Perhaps it's a free roll that if you're going to be loading anyway, there's the potential to get bonus tier and comps or free play, especially if it miscategorizes it as 6X. And who knows, because this card is brand new. So these are the features of the Iconic card and a little bit of comparison to the no annual fee.
You know me, I'm jumping right to the cream of the card, and so I'm thinking about the 3X on BetMGM here in Pennsylvania, where we're able to do that, and some of the opportunities there. I'm curious, do the card terms specifically say 1X on loads to BetMGM, or we just assume that it is 1X?
It says that, but in the past, sometimes it miscategorized that it would give more than 1X, perhaps coding as something different. So there's that potential. But I think even at 1X, it's positive expected value. I'm home at 9, 10 p.m. I'm awake, I'm alert. I decide to play some blackjack. I'm just getting in spend from home and working my way towards status. So pretty happy to do that. Or maybe around noontime, lunch is being prepared and let's play. Attractiveness of spending from home, I think, is very high, especially when it becomes more difficult at stores when certain plays die. I think this has been an ongoing play for several years. So I'm definitely appreciating MGM credit card to BetMGM, as some other rewarding cards have recently stopped working on certain casino sites.
Agreed. Yeah, I think here in Pennsylvania, we're fortunate in that we have a number of opportunities to amass points through a variety of different ways. And certainly online casinos the last few years have been an important part of that strategy.
And some other benefits of the card, you get automatic Pearl status. This doesn't give you too much. It's mainly free parking, but it's on the Iconic card. So if you haven't had any MGM credit card, you start with this, you get the Pearl status. You also get what they're calling a $200 resort credit per card member year. The fine print says that if you have a booked stay, you go to the MGM Rewards desk and they load 20,000 points or comps to your account. I appreciate that they do it this way rather than you have to make a cash booking for a room with the credit card and they offset it with a statement credit, because in this case, you can use free nights, comp nights, My Vegas nights, whatever you have available, and they'll just outright load this 20,000 points to your MGM Rewards account. So that's the $200 resort credit they're calling. A little bit of confusing language, but we're here to dispel confusion, of course.
I was just going to say the important part here is that Pearl status does not result in resort fees being waived like Gold, Platinum, or the famous Noir status does. So this is one way that even with Pearl status, if you take a trip before you're able to spend your way to Gold status, you still are able to offset, to your point, some of those resort credits, perhaps through comps at a restaurant, or I guess you could convert that to free play. Is that correct as well, or no?
I don't think you can go from the MGM Rewards to free play, but you could go from the free play to the MGM Rewards. I could be wrong. There could be some limited promotions, but usually when these opportunities are available, you don't get full value. So it's usually not worth it. So yes, you can use the comps to pay for the resort fees, pay for taxes, pay for food, pay for shows, and so much more. So it's nice they give the flexibility. And this is pretty standard with MGM, at least with the Platinum status. You get this $600 flight rebate. You present a receipt of a flight and they just add the comps to your account. So it's nice that they do that. They give you the flexibility because, of course, you can use something like United Travel Bank to book the flight and you don't have to directly use a certain credit card to do it. So it's a nice thing. They also give a new benefit on the Iconic card. They're calling it a $250 complimentary night benefit if you spend $25,000 on the card in a card member year on the Iconic card. And some of the reviews, some of the articles on this, oh, wow, you have to spend so much money to get that. If you're loading to BetMGM, I don't think that it's much spend at all. I have a 20,000-ish credit limit on the card, and I could spend that in 2 statements, maxing out the credit limit. Or, of course, for those that only have about 10, 15K, it's not going to take long to max it out. Again, if you're in that online gambling state or you travel to one. And we'll talk a little bit about the value of traveling to an online gambling state to have more value from this card. This includes the BetMGM loads for the $25,000 spend. Like the other benefit, it seems to indicate have a stay, go to the MGM Rewards Desk or Players Club, and they'll just add that to your account. The fine print's still a little bit confusing, and this card is new, so we don't have data points of people using these credits. But the 200 resort credit, the 250 complimentary night benefit, the 40K sign-up bonus looks to be a slam dunk in year one for those, of course, going to MGM properties.
Wow. So with the initial sign-up, we're talking $400 in comps or points, plus an annual benefit of $200 resort credit and a $250 complimentary night benefit at a MGM property. So it seems like all for a $249 annual fee. It seems like anybody that's spending any amount of time in an MGM casino, this card becomes a no-brainer.
Yes, I think pretty easy value there. A little bit of credits, maybe a little bit of organization or calendar notifications, whatever it might be. But I think pretty easy to redeem the credits. We'll see how this 250 complimentary night benefit plays out. But the 200 resort credit seems clearer that they're just going to add that to your account. It's just some confusing terminology, I think, on this. So in time, we'll get more clarity as to how these benefits work. But I looked at the fine print, and that's the assumptions I'm making out of it. There's another benefit. You get a 10K tier bonus every anniversary year. So it looks like you get 10K tier for signing up and another 10K tier at the anniversary year. So unsure about whether that posts on the first year as well. But upon renewal, I'm assuming that it will post. Some parts of the card that aren't so interesting, but I'll mention. There's a global entry or TSA pre-check credit, but most podcast listeners likely have this credit on other credit cards. And there's also a priority pass membership, but you have to pay per visit. And I would think, again, most listeners would have priority pass through other cards like Chase Sapphire Reserve or other credit cards.
So I was just doing a little Googling here, Justin, to see when the MGM tier resets, to see if, in fact, if you signed up at a time where your sign-up bonus and then your, like the first year at least, your sign-up bonus and your anniversary would be in the same year, but I guess it's still 12 months apart. So maybe this is a Sheriff Phillips math moment that I'm failing.
Yes, I suppose you wouldn't want to sign up for the card in November because then your tier will probably post towards the current calendar year. That could be awkward. October, November could be awkward. So maybe you'd want to get this card early in the year rather than 10K tier posting at the end of the year that wasn't so meaningful. Right now we're recording April 22nd, 2025, so it's pretty early in the year. You'd have several more months to earn status rather than signing up for the card towards the end of the year, and then that tier wouldn't be as meaningful in most cases.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think probably, like you said, a good reminder that if this is a card that you think you would use and would benefit and keep year after year, probably signing up in the first half of the year would make sense.
Yes, and other benefits of the card, priority check-in at MGM resorts. I've seen signs at many casinos that would show a picture of the at least no annual fee credit card, and you get to skip lines. So that's really valuable. I've skipped many lines in Vegas and Atlantic City. And I mentioned earlier in the episode WrestleMania that I walked from Allegiant Stadium to Luxor, and Luxor was very packed at the Public House restaurant. And I was able to skip the line with platinum status, and there were about 20 people in the line who probably didn't like me after I did that, but you get separate lines in many cases with status. So the priority check-in at the hotel could be very valuable when the lines are long. Extra lines or separate lines at the restaurants can be quite valuable. So just from the credit card, sometimes you'll see other lines, and then when you spend your way to status, you'll have expedited lines as well. No foreign transaction fee on the Iconic card, free parking at MGM Resorts, again, thanks to Pearl status. So a lot of benefits I'm seeing for this $249 annual fee or $0 annual fee if you have the upgrade offer to go from the no annual fee card to the Iconic card.
Yeah, and I think a number of good benefits. I think many folks, or some folks, maybe just some folks, are wondering, and I think I asked you the same question when we did the MGM no annual fee credit card, but what are some examples of MGM properties and locations that folks may be either interested in staying or have stayed in already and may not have realized it was an MGM property?
Ooh, Borgata in Atlantic City, we've mentioned. We have the MGM Grand in Detroit, Bellagio, Aria, Park MGM, MGM Grand in Las Vegas are several. And I've also received lounge access in Vegas. Now, the lounges in Vegas aren't as good as the Borgata Lounge in Atlantic City, but there's usually an espresso or specialty coffee machine, some light snacks, bottles of water, some soda for those who want it. So I've had access to the lounges, which also usually double as VIP check-in rooms. So it's more line skipping and a little bit of a better environment to check in.
With no foreign transaction fees, is this a card that if folks like to travel and also visit MGM properties, whether that's in Japan or Macau or China, other places in the world, seems like it would be a potentially good card there as well?
Yes. With no foreign transaction fees, if you were to travel to overseas MGM destinations, that would work. And hopefully they'd honor that 6X at MGM properties. That's not only in the United States, but that could be another case for looking at the fine print. I didn't look at that, but hopefully it's all MGM properties.
I mentioned Macau. I don't actually see an MGM property in Macau. Oh yeah, never mind. Yes, I do. I lied. I was right after all.
The magic of Google or ChatGPT.
Yeah, this is just good old fashioned Google. Yeah, I think this is a compelling card if you have the space and you're interested or playing or have stayed in an MGM property in the US or around the world. You talked a lot about benefits, Pearl status, comps. What other things you mentioned? Something about a cruise, maybe. Tell us more about that, Justin.
Yes, MGM status became more valuable a few weeks ago. Gold status now gives a 5-night ocean view comp cruise. The cruise benefit at Platinum was increased. Now it's a balcony stay with 7 nights, up from the previous ocean view and shorter cruise. Gold also gives a $100 dining credit, redeemable for comps we mentioned. Gold waives resort fees and gives discounted buffet entry at Borgata and Amphora Lounge access for $12.50. So lots of benefits with status. We've talked more about the status benefits earlier and in other episodes. But adding the cruises, I think, is incredibly valuable, especially at Gold. Maybe listeners won't get to Platinum, but for 75K tier, getting a complimentary cruise, I think, is a really big benefit. I can't think of too many other cards that give that unless there's some other strategic matching going on. And we know that's died with the Wyndham Business credit card matching to Caesar status. We can't do that anymore. So now having a reliable method to get the gold status or platinum with high enough spend, and particularly online gaming, the MGM Iconic works pretty well. And I'm looking forward to having both the Iconic and the no annual fee card for even more capacity to load to BetMGM. A 20K credit limit on one card, maybe a 10K or more on the other. That's a lot of spend. That's a lot of progress towards status. And I really like the opportunity to have Iconic in addition to the no annual fee card for the benefits as well.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, would you consider dropping your no annual fee card and getting this? But I guess that would be no different than upgrading. And we already decided that wasn't a good play.
Yes, if I can get the sign-up bonus rather than upgrading, I'd rather get the 40K sign-up bonus rather than upgrading with the no annual fee offer. You did mention 524. We went past that a little bit. For listeners that might not know, Chase has an unwritten rule that you're not eligible for Chase cards if you had applied for 5 or more cards in the last 24 months reporting to personal credit. So for those still concerned about that, perhaps if they had the personal no annual fee MGM card, that an upgrade would not add. It would not be a hard pull. It would not add an open account, as there are some drawbacks of opening new accounts, that it's going to slow your progress toward getting other cards. So I think niche situation there for someone concerned about 524 who has the MGM card, because that would probably be something people would get after they were finished with Chase cards.
That's a good strategy discussion, Justin. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Maybe some benefits here without having to jeopardize your 524 status.
Yes, so I see a lot of potential with both cards, especially the Iconic, as being a status accelerator, especially with that 6x. That's a benefit compared to no annual fee. And maybe they would even give better credit limits, but we don't know. If it's so iconic and it's metal and it's flashy and there's an annual fee, maybe they would give higher limits, but that's not always clear. Although from previous experiences, getting cards like the US Bank Altitude Reserve, that was a Visa Infinite card, and my understanding is that the minimum credit limit on that card is $10,000. The Chase Sapphire Reserve the same way, so maybe people applied for the no annual fee card. They got a low limit. The Iconic might give a better limit, but this is just speculation. It's hard to say as the card just released, but it's something that might be true.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, like you said, a lot of the attributes of this card, at least from the cachet they're trying to attach to it. Yeah, you like that? That maybe that it's going to accompany a larger credit limit, which, to your point, increases the opportunity for you and other cardholders to maximize tier earning per month and per year.
Yes, more tier, more status. That's what this card is really about. Otherwise, if you weren't concerned with status and you were just using it for 2x and converting that to free player comps, that's not as great versus other cards that are giving 4x, 5x, sometimes better. So you're really looking for the status in addition to the comps or free play on this card, especially spending toward gold status, or for those that can make platinum, particularly those in online gambling states. I think especially when that 3x promotion goes, usually what happens, they'll send out email and say limited time, your MGM credit card loads to BetMGM will give 3x tier and comps or free play. The 3x promo is so valuable. I think it's even worth traveling to places like Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, going to Atlantic City, maybe Detroit, and maybe Philly area casinos or other things in Pennsylvania like Steamtown. I was recently there in the Scranton area. Lots of YouTube videos I put up from that. So you can combine travels with the online gaming, especially during a 3x promotion. It might be a bit eccentric, and we've been known to do eccentric things, of course, to just travel for online gaming. So I would say travel for online gaming and other opportunities if possible, especially with a 3x promotion. So if you have a $20,000 credit limit, you're able to max that credit limit. That's 60,000 tier just from the loads. And given the 10,000 they're just giving you or giving you on renewal, that's super, super easy mode for gold status, which can be incredibly valuable, especially considering the cruise benefit.
Agreed. I was just thinking about a scenario where someone wanted to take a family vacation and maybe see the Independence Hall and all the great things at Philadelphia. And, oh, by the way, they have some Hilton gift card. They stay at a local, I don't know, Hilton Garden Inn or something. Not too fancy, but something with a pool the kids can go swim in the afternoon. And, geez, what are you going to do? Read a book maybe, or maybe just pull out your phone, play a little blackjack on BetMGM. Either way could work. So
yes, you're
lots of opportunities there.
Dell laptop. We might not be getting as much.
I believe I missed that stacking opportunity.
Oh, you might hop on SEPTA in Philadelphia or Amtrak.
Ooh, maybe. Does the T come all the way down to Philly.
Oh,
Gonna
just
have to get on the
just
Amtrak.
the Boston area, but you could take Amtrak to Boston, I'm sure. So
There you go.
that's okay. Do a T connection. Yes, and I will be in Boston after the recording of the show. So a big part of that is meeting with the Purple Princess Perry herself for a podcast episode, and video included is the plan. So looking forward to Boston. No online gaming in Boston, at least not with BetMGM, or maybe it's just sports. So the rules change from time to time. I find it silly. I suppose you can bet on horses, play the lottery, you can drink alcohol, you can buy cigarettes, but online blackjack, no, can't have that.
It's a funny world we live in. I'm just thankful that you decided to do the video with Princess Perry and not me. I think that's a much better selection criteria.
Moving on, my plans. I absolutely plan on getting this card. There were some ups and downs with my credit score from last month as I've maxed out credit limits for some creative plays. So I'm waiting on my scores to rebound. It's taking a little bit longer than usual. Usually it takes about 2 weeks for scores to rebound, but unfortunately I'm pretty low at the moment. So hopefully the credit bureaus update soon. The initial 40K point offer and the metal card is good through a good portion of May. So I'm hoping to apply before then. I'm hoping to apply before I go to Europe on a cruise. It might be strange if I tried applying for the card overseas and it gets flagged as a weird application and then I get denied because I was on a princess cruise. That would be strange, but we've definitely seen things like that happen. I log into a bank account on a cruise ship and then I get an alert and the account gets locked, which may or may not be a special road made of flowers, Laurel Road. We both had our problems with them and their suspicions.
What?
So hopefully I'll have both MGM cards, the no annual fee and the Iconic annual fee card, for more BetMGM capacity, some benefits that will overtake the annual fee. I think it's a great investment if I can pay $249 for so much more capacity for BetMGM and the resort credit and what they're calling the, the free night credit, the complimentary night credit.
Yeah, I think both the resort credit and complimentary night credit are both seems pretty lucrative. I wonder how long and one interesting thing would be how long they're willing to continue that. You'd hope that would be a benefit they would continue into perpetuity.
Ooh.
Easy for me to say.
Lots of P's there too.
Lots of P's. But we've seen other cards launch with pretty exciting offers, pretty exciting benefits, and then start to ease those back over time, depending on how many arbitrage specialists engage in arbitrage using their cards. So
yes, the U.S. Bank Smartly card hasn't been so intelligent recently. That got really downgraded for new applicants. What could go wrong? 4% everywhere.
Yeah, come on.
Who would possibly max out credit limits on that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, nobody's going to do that.
Nah.
So hopefully the Iconic remains iconic. And some nice thing I did mention earlier is the capability of tier matching, that it seems like every few months a new casino offer is coming out where show your MGM Platinum status and we'll give you a $250 birthday dinner, as was recently the offer at Philadelphia Live Casino. Vegas casinos like Wynn Las Vegas were offering complimentary cruises, complimentary nights. These come and go. So having the MGM Platinum ready to go, or even MGM Gold possibly, will be very helpful for potential matches in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. Justin, is there anyone that you would caution? I know we've already decided that the solution to most problems is more credit cards, but is there someone you would caution about getting this credit card and instead maybe direct them to a different credit card?
Yes, it would seem odd for non-MGM people to get this card, that if you weren't planning on going to Vegas, Atlantic City, or other destinations like MGM National Harbor, or maybe you'd go one time a year, probably not worth it. But if you went at least a handful of times a year, I think you'd get good value. If you're very early on in the credit card journey, perhaps you would start with cards that had more flexible points that weren't tied to a casino. You might be starting with Chase, as we've talked about earlier, getting business cards to keep your personal credit cleaner so you can get more Chase cards. So indeed, not for everyone. And these were some of the lamentations on X and other places. I wouldn't be recommending a Virgin Atlantic Airways or Airlines card to people if they weren't planning on flying Virgin. So it seems weird for some to lament this card. Oh, not everybody's going to go to MGM. Yes, it's not going to be a card for everyone, but I think it has a lot of power, especially for us in Pennsylvania and especially for people going to Las Vegas.
Makes sense. Don't get the Hilton card if you're not going to stay at Hilton's. Don't get the American Airlines card if you're not going to. I mean, maybe there's some other things there, but yeah, that's, I think, generally makes sense.
And for people who were to gamble in person and earn status through in-person gambling, perhaps this card isn't as valuable because a big portion of this card is earning the status through card spend. But if you were to do a combination of the in-person gambling that didn't get you there plus the card spend, then that could be very helpful. Hopefully I can convince listeners to play on BetMGM if they can. I've seen in many groups, oh, I'm not really one for online gambling. Oh, I like playing in person instead. I see it as more of a tool that if I can use this card to fund online and get all the status plus free player comps from it, then I'll do it. I'll just play through 1X, be done with it, and just move on.
Yeah, I think we're oftentimes buying some convenience, right? That, like you say, you don't have to go to the casino to start earning tier or reward credits with this card and with online gambling that's available in our state or Commonwealth, more accurately. Yeah.
The Keystone State, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's right. So you're all in. I'm probably a maybe on this one. I think there's value, but we were discussing before we started recording about an upcoming probably Apparama that I'm going to be engaging in. I just finished up some sign-up bonuses on some Amex cards, as one does, and looking to see what other opportunities there are. Try to diversify my portfolio of cards a little bit and look for some cashback cards and the cards that you can earn 3, 4, 5% cash back on as part of some of the hobbies and games we play are pretty attractive and fairly lucrative.
Yes, for those starting, perhaps the points will be more valuable, but for us deep in the game, we have lots of points sitting around. We're looking to cash out some of those in ways or just use straight cashback, especially when the multipliers are quite high or we can stack things to get around 4 or 5%. Versus using a points earning card that's a 1.5% everywhere. So always looking to up our game, add to the credit card portfolio, have more options. And in some ways, this card does give cash back. If you were to just straight up use the free play through the funds one time, withdraw, it has worked on video poker. I was just in Las Vegas. I went to the high limit room at Park MGM, totally non-smoking. And they had premium cocktails. So I sat at 100 play video poker machine that started at a pretty low denomination. I believe it was 25 cents. So you can play one hand, 5 credits for $1.25 per hand if you really wanted to. Sit there, get the Fiji water, get the better cocktails compared to the main floor, and play your free playthrough in that way.
Yeah, and I really like those 100, what do you call them, 100 hand games, 100 play games, 100 hand.
Either one.
Yeah, that I think that helps diversify the risk. It takes out some of the really high highs, but for the most part, you and I aren't going there trying to buy a house or buy a car or walk away with thousands of dollars. Mostly what we're trying to do is, what's the Milenomics phrase? Get rich slowly type thing. So,
or do the minimum to get the maximum.
Do the minimum to, like, my whole life, man. Do the minimum.
Yeah, get rich slow through miles and points, that's for sure.
There you go.
Or at least augment our income, right? It's not going to be like totally miles and points for most listeners, and not even for me. There's a lot of things I have going on rather than resting all my hopes on one ship.
Yeah, for sure. And again, a lot of it's about increasing your enjoyment or the opportunity for your enjoyment, either doing more things or having the resources to travel in business instead of economy, pay up to the bigger suite or get an upgrade to the bigger suite in a hotel with family, stay a little nicer hotel, whatever it might be. Those are the things that oftentimes we're looking to do. Take the cruise that you just have to pay the taxes and fees on instead of the whole thing. So lots of opportunities in that regard.
Yes, and potentially 2 cruises coming from this card, which is really powerful.
Speaking of cruises, what do you got coming up these days, Justin?
Ooh, first though, I'd like to know from listeners, are you getting the card? If you can comment on Instagram, YouTube, X, or Facebook, If you have any other thoughts on this, I'd like to hear from you. But for me, yes, traveling, I've built quite the reputation. I've shared that through a meme that when people ask you what's coming next, which travel is coming next, then you know that person's traveling a lot. So I have the Emerald Princess Cruise coming up April 29th. I'm going to be going to Boston April 24th. So I'm staying in Boston 2 nights and then going on this Emerald Princess Cruise. I'll be staying 2 nights in Rome and then headed to this cruise. So I will not be driving in Boston. You is the quote from Purple Princess Perry. Once again, follow her on Instagram if you're not. I'll be using the T to get around. I'll be using rideshare, a hotel shuttle. And then overseas, I look forward to taking some trains to get around Europe, as the rideshare situation there is not as good. And this should be a cool experience. So it'll be a 9-night European Explorer cruise. And then after that, staying in Southampton. It's a one-way cruise. It's Rome to Southampton. On the Emerald Princess, it's stopping in Florence and Pisa, Italy, France, La Seine-sur-Mar, Toulon. I'm probably botching that pronunciation. Barcelona, Spain, Gibraltar in the UK, Lisbon, Portugal, and ending in Southampton. So that's a comped cruise. I'm paying the taxes, fees, and I purchased a cruise package, which is rare, but the package with Princess, the premier package, lots of P's, that includes gratuities, meal upgrades, drinks, including specialty coffees, gratuities, Wi-Fi, and much more. So looking forward to the premier Princess package. All the pops, all the P's. So I'm looking forward to those trips. And later in the year will be Amsterdam. And I'll also be speaking at Zorkfest in December. So December 5th through 7th in Las Vegas. Early bird tickets still available. So lots happening. Also an Alaska cruise in July. And many other trips, I'm sure. Some Las Vegas in between there.
That sounds perfect.
All the P's.
All the P's. That sounds excellent. I look forward to hearing and following along and on all the social media. And I hope you have a great trip. Another good Zorkfest. Trips for me upcoming. Yeah, a couple. Let's see. So our family trip this year is to Greece. We'll be flying over there in July. And then my wife and I have a 20th anniversary trip down to Bonaire. We're going to be doing some scuba diving, something we used to enjoy quite a bit prior to the kids. And so we'll spend a week doing a fair bit of diving down there and enjoying our 20 years of matrimonial bliss. So it should be a good time. Those are the 2 next coming up, and a couple other work trips, I think, for myself and my wife, but not as exciting on those.
All right. Any other thoughts on MGM or the Iconic MasterCard?
I just wish Mavis were still around, Justin. So go get her $500 gift cards.
Yes, that was the old play that died. Imagine 6X buying a $500 gift card every day, converting it to video poker free play and cashing out. That would be some really quick status earning.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Shoot, we don't even know. Maybe you could go and load that onto there's just so many opportunities.
Dead deals. We mourn the dead deals.
Yeah.
No more happy moments. We used to buy those happy moments gift cards.
Yeah,
so the war on happiness continues, but we're trying to fight back.
That's right. Still fighting back. No, nothing else. And always enjoy the opportunity to talk with you. Always learn something along the way, and hope our listeners enjoy our conversation.
All right. Very good. And we look forward to hearing people in the comments on social media, Instagram, YouTube, X, or Facebook. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for future episodes. Some closing announcements. Ticket sales for Zorkfest 2025, a miles, points, and gambling event, are live at zorkfest.travelzork.com. I hope to see you at Zorkfest 2025 in Las Vegas, December 5th through December 7th. I'm also looking forward to other events in 2025 and had a successful 2024, speaking at events with Award Travel 101, Travel Zork, Frequent Traveler University, and both Chicago Seminars events. If you're an event organizer and would like to have me speak in 2025, please contact me. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel, Credit Miles and Points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy-Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vakula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy-Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube, where you can become a channel member for daily content, including travel videos, podcast clips, community, and bonus videos. Search Hurdy-Gurdy Travel on subscribestar.com to financially support my efforts starting at the $5 a month tip jar level. Receive special perks at higher subscriber levels, including private one-on-one conversations and asking podcast guests your questions. Find links and more at hurdygurdytravel.com. I'm now an affiliate with Card Pointers. Use my Card Pointers affiliate link, cardpointers.com/hurdygurdytravel for a 30% discount on annual and lifetime plans. Card Pointers has a great app and browser tools to automatically activate credit card linked offers from banks, including American Express, Chase, US Bank, and more to maximize your savings. The website udio.com, created the podcast intro and outro music. It's not me singing. The AI features of the website Descript, DESCRIPT, helped me edit and improve audio quality. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy-Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.